An introduction to the book of Luke. Luke was a physician. Like the gospel writer Mark, Luke was not one of Jesus' 12 apostles. Also, Luke did not refer to himself as an eyewitness of the events in Jesus' life. He became a disciple probably sometime after Jesus' death. In time, he traveled with the apostle Paul. Luke's Gospel covers the time period from 3 BCE to 33 CE. He wrote in logical order, often chronologically. Nearly 60% of the material in this book is unique in comparison with the other Gospels. For example, at least 6 of Jesus' miracles are found exclusively in Luke's account. Luke uses more than 300 terms that were either used in medicine or to which he gives a medical meaning. Only Luke speaks of a man full of leprosy and of Peter's mother-in-law having a high fever. Luke likely wrote his gospel in Caesarea while Paul was imprisoned there, from about 56 to 58 CE. So although appearing after Mark in the Bible, Luke was the second of the 4 Gospels to be written. In addition to having access to Matthew's Gospel, Luke was no doubt moved by God's Spirit to interview reliable eyewitnesses of Jesus' ministry and to examine trustworthy historical documents. Luke contains 24 chapters. Chapters 1 and 2 provide information about the early years of John the Baptist and Jesus. As foretold by an angel, Elizabeth gives birth to John. Mary gives birth to Jesus about 6 months later. Did you know? Luke is the only gospel writer who included an account of Jesus as a 12-year-old boy. Luke may have obtained this family history from Jesus' mother, Mary. Chapter 3 provides material that aids in determining when John the Baptist and Jesus began their ministries. Noteworthy, too, is the record of Jesus' genealogy, tracing Mary's family through King David and all the way back to Adam, son of God. Chapters 4 to 9 relate the preaching and healing work of Jesus' early ministry, primarily in the region of Galilee. Luke conveys not only specific details regarding the sicknesses that Jesus healed, but also conveys the compassion with which Jesus cured people. Chapter 6 describes how Jesus, after a whole night in prayer, chooses his 12 apostles. In chapter 9, Jesus sends out the 12 to preach the kingdom message and to heal the sick. Chapter 10 to the middle of chapter 19 describes events that mostly take place in Judea and Perea. Jesus increases the number of kingdom proclaimers by sending out 70 more disciples to preach the message. Jesus' parables of the neighborly Samaritan and the lost son, also known as the prodigal son, are mentioned only in Luke's Gospel. The latter part of chapter 19 to the end of chapter 23 records Jesus' final public ministry in and around Jerusalem and events surrounding his death. Chapter 21 includes Jesus' prophecy pertaining to the destruction of Jerusalem and to the last days of this system of things. Luke adds pestilences as a feature of the last days, a detail not mentioned in the accounts of Matthew or Mark. The final chapter records events relating to Jesus' resurrection. Luke is the only gospel writer who describes Jesus' ascension to heaven. As you read the Gospel of Luke, note how Jesus zealously shared the kingdom message and trained others to do so, how he described the conditions that would mark the last days, and how his healing people of their afflictions shows what he will accomplish as King of God's kingdom.